65 and I plan to retire next year. With everything going on in the bond market and the stock market, how should I structure my investments? I've got that and more coming up. My name's Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Real life client scenario. I'm 65. I'm looking to retire, planning on retiring next year. With everything that's happened in the bond market and with how volatile stocks have been, how should I structure my investments? Oh my goodness, we can all sort of relate to this, whether you're going to retire next year or a few years later, or maybe even 10 or 15 years out. It's puzzling right now because as you get closer and closer to retiring and needing the dollars, the conventional thinking is reducing risk. And reducing risk means reduce the amount that you have in stocks and add that money to bonds. Well, bonds are in their kind of worst 3-year stretch in history. I don't know how they'll finish the year exactly, but at one point and just recently, bonds were negative. Now for the 3rd year in a row, bonds have never done that. And so your safe, steady, predictable investments are all of a sudden have been very risky and have reduced your overall portfolio. And that's left many people, even in retirement, certainly if you're in retirement, sort of scratching your head or getting mad at your investments, your financial advisor saying, what are you doing wrong? And so certainly leads to this question. I'm about to retire in this scenario, 65, going to retire next year. How do I structure my investments? Well, I'll make one more comment before getting into sort of the approach that I would suggest you take. And that is, this also leads to, not only right now, and this was part of the question, bonds have been terrible, and so there's this temptation to leave it more in stocks, but the stock market's volatile, and are we going to see a recession or not, and what will that do to stocks? And therefore, many people are wondering what to do. But kind of more universally, many people, as they approach retirement, make a common mistake of saying, well, I'm about to retire, I can't take the same level of risk, and they go no risk for almost all of their portfolio. And they either do that for a couple of different emotional reasons. One, I can't afford to see declines in my portfolio because I no longer have the long term, or I'm no longer investing. So that's one thought. And the other is I'm starting to draw money out, and if my investments go down while I'm drawing money out, I can't afford to do that. And it's sort of linked to the same thing. The reality is, at age 65 or 66, some of those dollars still need to work for you for 20 years. Still have a long time before you're going to need them. And so Kevin Korhorn, the founder of Korhorn Financial Group and co-host on our weekly talk show, he talks about and shares that, okay, over your career, if you built up your portfolio to right here, and at this timeline, now you're ready to retire, it's not that everything needs to go low risk. You can sort of just lay it on its side, and these are the dollars you're going to spend early and later and so on. And so the dollars that you're not going to touch until you're 80s or even 90, at 65, those are still long-term dollars and should be invested that way. So that's the word picture that sort of aligns with our approach. We call it the personal pension plan, and essentially it starts with step one is determining how much you need to be withdrawing out of your investments to supplement Social Security or supplement your other sources of retirement income. You've got to know that number, and therefore comprehensive financial planning is essential. It's essential when you're making this enormous decision about when can I retire confidently, and how should I invest when I'm about to retire or in retirement. So you've got to first start with, how much do I need to draw out of my investments, or how much am I looking to draw out of my investments? And you'll do the math through the financial planning process to confirm that that's an appropriate amount and it's not going to diminish your dollars too quickly. And you might also find out that, yeah, we actually don't need to draw a lot out, and therefore we can just draw the interest or something like that. Most people need to draw, in order for their present financial position to work, they've got to draw out more than just what the interest is earning. And so this personal pension plan, again, makes a lot of sense. Step one is determine how much you're going to be drawing out of your investment portfolio. Step 2 then is to align your overall portfolio into a short-term bucket, intermediate term buckets, and long-term buckets. Now, these could be separate accounts. Oftentimes they are not, for efficiency and for just for ease of making it all work. Simplicity, that's the word I was thinking of. Oftentimes these are all in just one account, but sort of parsed out or segmented into different buckets. So you'll see what I mean. Take the amount that you're looking at, that you're needing to withdraw every single month, and take 2 to 3 years worth of that, and have that in very short-term, liquid, low-risk investments, okay? And right now, that would be like a money market account. A money market account or money market mutual fund is paying a higher interest, really shouldn't be volatile. The value shouldn't go up and down. And those are the dollars that you're gonna tap. And when you officially do retire next year, that's where you're gonna start drawing money out of. 2 to 3 years of cash there means, you know what, for the next 2 to 3 years, if you happen to retire right at a time the stock market's going to dip, you don't have to worry because you've got 2 to 3 years worth of cash. Going back to 2008, I remember seeing Jim Cramer on the Today Show saying, get all your money out of the market. This thing's going to blow essentially. And we were looking at our clients saying, yeah, if you've retired, you've already got 2 to 3 years worth of cash. No need to panic. Yeah, it's very concerning. This is not good, but no need to panic. And so that's sort of the first bucket. That's your short-term bucket. Next, do that math again of how much do you need to draw every single month, and do another 5 to 7 years worth in an intermediate term bucket. An intermediate term bucket is you're looking for kind of medium risk, but hopefully more yield and more fixed interest, more income. And the idea is that income then is paying income into that short-term bucket and sort of replenishing it as you go. Not fully, not perfectly, but replenishing it as you go. Right now, I've done some videos on this. We love looking at CD or bond ladders in this intermediate term bucket because you're getting a good interest rate right now, and when those dollars are going to mature and what level they're going to mature at, and you can sort of time it out because as your 2 to 3 years worth of money market, as that gets spent through, all of a sudden it's going to need to be reinvested or replenished. And if you have a 3-year bond, a 4-year bond, a 5-year bond, something like that, that's coming due, those are paying good interest along the way, kind of giving you extra dollars in that money market. And then when they mature, you can move them into that short-term bucket. So between those two, your short-term bucket and your intermediate term bucket, that's going to cover about 8 to 10 years. And that's about that. I wouldn't say that's long-term investing, but that's close. And therefore, the rest of your portfolio is in that long-term portfolio, that long-term bucket. And those dollars are likely higher risk, not speculative risk, not very aggressive, but invested for your risk tolerance and your temperament. But you're able to invest those at a little bit higher risk because they're going to go up and down, and over the long term, riding through those peaks and valleys, you're going to have a better long-term performance, and you've got the security or the peace of mind to let those dollars ride through those peaks and valleys because you've got 2 to 3 years worth of cash plus another 5 to 7 years worth of dollars that are replenishing the cash. When that long-term bucket does unusually well, as the stock market can do just in a flash, you can take some of those gains and replenish that intermediate term bucket, or you could even take some of those gains and say, oh, this is so good, we're gonna kind of cut some cream off the top and move it all the way to the short-term bucket. But when that long-term bucket declines temporarily, there's no need to panic. Again, because you've got 2 to 3 years worth of cash and 7 to 8 or 9 years worth of overall portfolio or dollars that you can withdraw while you let these dollars recover. So that's our common approach, but you're going to want to work with your certified financial planner and see what strategy makes the most sense in your entire comprehensive financial plan, looking at all 6 areas of your financial life. So work with your certified financial planner on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.